Radical.
Welcome to Radical Rapid Fire Comment Response for March the 6th to March the 12th, 2023. Short comments, quick replies. It's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah, gotta get back on that horse. Get through this thing, man. I'm only what, a year and a half behind? I'll get back there. Red Strauss 97. Hey, Radical Rick. My wife bought me a PS5 for our anniversary. Now I finally get to experience the PS4 library and a PS5 for the first time. Never owned a PS4. Such a great thing that the PS5 is backward compatible. So wonderful. That's helping my sales at the flea market immensely. Thank you, Sony, for making the PS5 backward compatible with the PS4. If you have a PS5, please help me here. Let me know what of use is a PS4 if you have a PS5. I mean, the controller, I suppose? I'm just at a loss here. Like, when I get a PS5, I'm most definitely probably going to sell my Darth Vader Edition PS4 because I just don't see much of a use in the PS4 once I get a PS5. And there's so many great games on the PS4, man. PS5 got a couple good ones, so yeah. I hope you had a good anniversary last year. And what'd she get you for your anniversary this year? Or what'd you get her this year? Because, like I said, this is over a year ago. Martyville, it is insane how expensive games have become, or anything in general. The milk price went from 68 cents after the pandemic to 115 euros. Meat, vegetables, fruits, candy, tea, coffee, everything is a lot more expensive. Yes, everything is a lot more expensive. And people might say, well, that's how things work. Everything goes up in price. Everything. Let's talk about games for a second. Just a second, because this is Radical Rapid Fire. $70 seems like a lot right now for a video game. It does. It just does. Especially these new sports games coming out. Partly because everything else is so expensive. Everything. Not just one thing, but everything. I don't want to talk about that too much because I actually have a side upload I'm working on actually going over the prices of things and how things have ballooned up in price. But you're definitely right there. It would suck if it was just one or two things that went up in price, but it's everything. Everything. Tosin Stardom 2316. I think this console has attracted a lot of resellers, set collectors, and curious game collectors over the past 5 or 10 years. I remember this console felt a little more niche compared to a PlayStation and Xbox boom of the past, but in this day and age, it's more than the hardcore Nintendo group soaking up nostalgia. Yeah, for a little while with the GameCube, that was more of a niche. It's weird to say it's a niche now because everyone knows what the GameCube is, right? It's getting more love, ironically, now than it did back then. As some of these other Nintendo consoles, when they age, people might go back and go, you know what? I'm going to experience a Wii U. Nintendo would look at you and say, well, shit, why didn't you care about it this much when we had it out? Why? The GameCube, I mean, I can't speak to the Wii U. I never had a Wii U, but I had a GameCube. I like the GameCube. I love many things about the GameCube. It was kind of weird, the fact that, you know, it didn't play DVDs or CDs. It was like its own little format, little mini disc and everything. And it looked like a cube, but it had a great controller. I liked the design, how small the system was. And the game library was, I would say, you might disagree with me here, I would say the overall library on the GameCube far better than the N64. A lot of people probably might not think that, but I'm talking about adding third parties there, right? I mean, the N64 problem with it was third-party games. What? Third-party games? Where the GameCube was a whole lot better on that. Yeah, but prices have gone steadily on the GameCube stuff. Definitely also. DJ Crispy Fingers. I don't even bother collecting retro games as much as I did back in 2017 when nobody was charging $100 a GameCube game. What drives me nuts is YouTubers who think paying that much for a game is worth it when they're getting old and showing signs of disc rot. I see this a lot on shopgoodwill.com, DJ Crispy Fingers. I see a lot of people that are putting down hundreds of dollars for Silent Hill on PS2, but they don't even show the condition of the disc. How stupid is that? If they have the game in the case and they don't flip the disc over, it should be mandatory, any of those pictures, or for anyone bidding on that, for you to actually see the disc in great detail. And in the description down below, tell you basically if there's any big scratches on it. That's the thing you need to know. But beyond scratches, disc rot. If you got a disc that actually has disc rot and you've seen disc rot, I've seen a little bit. If it's what we're thinking about, maybe we have different definitions of disc rot, but there's some I have that will play fine, and it's just like slight discoloration. But if you have full disc rot, how pissed off would you be if you paid $100 for a GameCube game and it was not even playable? It's worthless. It goes from $100 to worthless real quick. June? Who's June Mamba? Rune Mamba. Ja is a clown. Ja Morant grew up super privileged, both parents in suburban neighborhood, and wanted for nothing. He's literally Papa Doc Clarence from 8 Mile. He needs to cut off all of his friends who are just other idiots using him for his money and clout. I agree. So that's so weird. The suburban gangsta movement. Suburban gangsters. All these people that, it's not just black people, because there are fake gangsters that are white, for instance. But I mean, you try to take what being a gangster really is, and having to actually fight for everything that you have in your life, and literally having to fight people to not get. I mean, I can't even speak to it. I've just seen movies about gangster lifestyle. I'm not a gangster, everybody. I'm never going to claim to be a freaking gangster. But you have people that live in suburbia, that grow up in suburbia, and Ja Morant, who's trying his hardest to be accepted by gangsters. That's going backwards. How fucking stupid are you? Because gangsters, part of the reason they're gangsters is because they want to get to a point where they have a lot of money. You're so stupid if you're trying to cater to and hang out with gangsters or wannabe gangsters, because they're just using you, guess what, for your money and your clout. Ja, hopefully in the year past, he's not the old Ja Morant, but that's just so stupid. Isn't it stupid? You have money. You got there. So you want to fall back just because you want to be a gangsta? You want to listen to certain rap music and you want to be a true gangster? Fuck that shit. I'd rather have money over being a gangster. I really think, Diecast Noob, I really think his dad just wants the spotlight and acts like one of his boys instead of being a dad. Plus, you're just as good as the company you keep, so meh. If something happens, it's because his dad, and for being a dumbass. Yeah, again, talking about Ja Morant. Sometimes the dad is a part of the problem, big part of the problem, because they just want to hang out with the celebrity, famous, or superstar son, and a dad should be a dad, just not one of the boys. That's just enabling, and you're as good as the company you keep. It's true. A lot of you might not agree, but I will say, outside of working with somebody, you gotta check and see who someone goes to hang out with after work. Guess what? If you go hang out with alcoholics, with problems, if you go hang out with druggies, then that's what you are. That's what you want to be, right? Unless you're trying to actually just help them or something like that. If you're friends with and you hang out with people that are a certain type of people, then guess what? That rubs off on you. If you want to be successful in life, here's an idea. How about hanging out with successful people that have their shit together? Yeah, good advice, isn't it? I bet a lot of you have friends right now you probably should kind of cut out right now, because you want to move somewhere in life. You want to move up somewhere in life and have a better life. Restress 97. Hard gangsters can't be in the NBA. The NBA code of conduct won't allow for it. This is a twofer. I try not to have twofers read. Usually I limit these to one comment and everything. I'm still going to respond to it, but it's just me getting back in the habit of this. I do agree. Hard gangsters, they can't be in the NBA. It is a bad look. You can have, Draymond Green, he doesn't wave guns around, I guess. He punches and kicks people and whatnot. But Draymond Green, I wouldn't say, would you consider that gangsta? I'm just going to be looking at gun things, like gun-toting gangsta, okay? Last thing the NBA wants is a gun-toting gangster filming themselves driving around, aiming their gun around, or whatever. You just can't have that shit, okay? You can't have that. It is not a good look, especially with Ja Morant, who's very popular. It'd be one thing if it was like maybe like somebody that never gets any floor time in the game. Ja Morant is going to be one of your top 4 or 5 people that you're going to be pushing the next decade in the NBA. That's especially a big problem. But I mean, talent will only get you so far, but like what would happen? Would the NBA step in and say, like, listen, we just can't have this person in the NBA because that is like representing you is the NBA. So yeah, Ja better get his shit together. Martyville. This is what I disliked about the Netflix Saint Seiya. They turned a male lead who was a pacifist into a strong girl character. That was a total turnoff for me, as the 4 main characters are very iconic to the series. I can't speak to this, but the new Batman series, Cape Crusader, didn't they turn Penguin into a female? I believe. Why? If that's what happened. Just why? It makes no sense. Unless you can make it make sense in the story, or it's an alternative tale, it makes no sense. Because when I think the Penguin, I think Dan DeVito. I think the video games. I think the Penguin. I think the comic books. I don't think female. There's no way that adding bosoms to the Penguin improves that character. Okay? Just adding a snatch to a character doesn't improve the character. Adding a schlong to a character doesn't improve a character. It just changes that. Okay, trying to quickly get through here. Dumas, I'm a long time Adam Carolla fan ever since before Man Show. Ziggy zaggy ziggy zaggy oi oi oi. Ziggy zaggy ziggy zaggy oi oi oi. Or Loveline. The midget guy is Brad Williams. Then I'm quickly going with this one. See, L.A. Bad traffic in L.A. Red tape government. Yeah, I agree. Congested, homeless everywhere. I heard that's a big problem in L.A. Any of you live in L.A. right now? I heard there's homeless people everywhere. You can't go anywhere without tripping over homeless people. Now, I don't know if that's because LA is such a desirable place for homeless people to go to. It's like a homeless mecca. Or if it's the other side, which is the price of living is so expensive in LA, a lot of people just become homeless. I would guess it's more the latter, I would say. Probably just a lot of people cannot afford to live there, and they become homeless. Arun Mamba, the stuff is so normalized now, I don't blame you for not wanting to talk about it. Yeah, I mean, e-begging, definitely e-begging. It's just so normal right now. And for me to talk about something like that, and to give my honest thoughts on it, which I've done, there is so much pushback. There's so much pushback. I can't have any kind of upload where I'm just talking about somebody e-begging, even now, even if it's blatant e-begging, not stealth, but even blatant e-begging, without someone trying to tell me, you're jealous, you're jelly, you just wish that you could get those donations and whatnot. And it's so normalized. So it's not that like I can't talk about it, but it's just the fact that there's so many idiots that would come here to the channel and they would tell me that I'm wrong on something when I'm clearly right. Because time didn't change what e-begging is. E-begging will always be e-begging. Just because it's more normalized doesn't change the core of what it is, which is taking donations online without providing anything, any service, anything of substance, anything to someone in return. It's all about equivalent exchange. There's no equivalency. If someone sends you 10 rare GameCube games and you're a YouTuber and you have an upload just talking about the games, that's not equivalent to it. Just name dropping somebody because they send you some rare games, that's not equivalent. You understand it? But I can't even say that and have an upload talking about that because there's so many people that would say, oh, you're just jelly. You just want those rare GameCube games. No. I want to pay for my shit myself with a job that I have. Isn't that a crazy-ass concept today? Anam, 5389. Imagine if the Super Thanks existed when MGR, Metal Juice Rocks, did his Basement League video. Oh, man, he'd been rolling in the simp dough. Yeah. Like back then, if they had a Super Thanks button, if it was as easy as just a button up under the upload, do you know how many of his simps would very quickly donate? They would just get whiplash from trying to donate so quickly to him without even really thinking for themselves, wait a second, doesn't this guy probably have that much money to fix it? And it's probably not going to be $40,000. Probably not. And they're not going to even think about it. I mean, there was a second step before. There's a Patreon. So people would have to actually go to somewhere else to donate money to him. But now it's so seamless. The e-begging is so seamless right now. It's worked into YouTube. It's baked into the YouTube pie. What's next? I mean, you going to have like a pop-up after you go to every upload telling you to join a channel or some shit like that? Is that what's next? Yeah. It gets so easy, so easy. I'm surprised YouTube actually just doesn't have like baked into. I mean, I don't want to give them any ideas. Any more e-begging ideas for YouTube or the YouTubers doing it. Adam 3K3, Rick, happy late new year. Interesting how I was planning to make a video on the anti-e-begging movement until I came across this. The emotional cash cow resisted perishing. Wood just filmed a video describing how difficult his life is as a result of having to transfer boxes from one residence to another. The boxes were full of toys he received for free, and I believe that my family was struggling in bomb-ravaged Ukraine. Listen, Adam 3K3, you think you have it tough with your family struggling in bomb-ravaged Ukraine? Do you not understand the sheer amount of amiibos that Wood Hawker has to transfer from one spot to the other? Bomb-ravaged Ukraine. Do you know how difficult that can be from taking boxes of things and taking them and putting them somewhere else? Wait a second. You know, he probably sells a lot of that stuff for good bits of money, the stuff he gets from his simp fans, I'm thinking. Does he still do the P.O. Box videos? I'm guessing. Does he still do those? Well, maybe he did before. I don't keep up, right? But he could literally sell some of those things that he gets from his fans and use that money to pay someone else to do the moving for him. But let's just take it at face value. Let's say he's moving the boxes from one area to the other. He said, emotional cash cow, difficult as life is. How difficult his life is? Wood Hawker does not have a difficult life. I did a little bit of research into this, and I looked into one of his uploads, and I just saw him crying down from anxiety. He had a cry fit, and maybe he actually did cry. Maybe he has anxiety attacks. I'm not saying he's faking everything. Maybe he did. Maybe he actually cried. Maybe he does. Who knows? Well, after the anxiety attack is over, he can look around, realize he has a pretty damn good life. He has a lovely girlfriend. He has a nice house. He has people sending him stuff all the time. If he still does P.O. Box videos. He has some nice pets that love him. He has a great life compared to probably 90% of other people in the world. So, he does not have a tough life. Woe is me. Woe is me. He does not. So that's the heart of a lot of criticism. Not just I've leveled at Wood through the years. It's the fact that he doesn't understand. He tries to fucking play the victim. He tries to say that he has all these issues while not understanding that he is a very privileged person to be in the position that he is right now. Maybe one day, what I say and what other people say will actually sink into his thick fucking skull. Possibly. And he'll understand that. And he'll quit crying about things. All that shit, man. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. You got a nice life, Wood. All right? You got a great life. So, I'll just leave it there. Is that where I'm going to leave it? Yeah, Radical Rapid Fire. So, we're back in the swing of things. I promise I'll be more consistent with these. Okay?